Companies across the country are struggling. Their sales are down, but they don't know what to blame. Is it the pandemic? Is it the economy? Or does their sales team not know how to sell? We'll be talking to a leading sales authority next on The Jeff Crilley Show.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is The Jeff Crilley Show. There are sales meetings going on in companies across the country right now in which the boss is saying to the sales team, why aren't sales better? To talk about that today, Kertrina Dauway, she's a sales authority. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Well, you and I were talking off the air that, there's a generational thing going on, and, the old way of selling in the 50s and 60s and 70s has been replaced by a lot of younger people who they might be more of a digital salesperson or a texting salesperson.
Yes.
Tell me what your experience is.
My experience with my peers has been literally watching them not really understand the value of relating to the client. And so they bypass the buying signals, not really understanding, hey, this client really is buying it. And so what I had to get them to understand is it's really important to be relatable. When you are relatable, that client values that client becomes confident in that. And how is it that you are relatable? Well, there has to be some things that you have to identify within yourself. And that's a self-confidence, that's worthiness, that's believing in the product. And so it's not entitlement where just because you're sitting down with them, expecting them to say yes to you is just not the norm.
How many seconds does it take for the customer to judge the salesperson and say, I like her, I don't like her, I like him, I don't like him?
7 to 10 seconds.
Really?
7 to 10 seconds.
And it doesn't matter what you're selling.
It's
more a personality or an energy thing.
Yes, right in person, they automatically know. And it's important for you to read them. It's important for you to understand where their mindset is and then adjust your initial presentation to them. Because if you go in, like me, there are times when I'm very sanguine, very, hey, but I can't present that to someone who has a melancholy type of mindset or who's very intense. And being able to identify at that point, okay, I've caught them in a very intense mode. How do I present myself to them? How do I deliver a message of benefits to them and get them in the mindset of that? So it's important to understand the strategy of that and really being endearing to that client, no matter what industry, because they'll appreciate that in the end. They'll appreciate that the fact that you valued where they are mentally, and they'll appreciate how you presented yourself from a professional standpoint, but at the same time, what your personality was like in presenting yourself to them.
Tell us your story. How did your journey begin?
My journey began with my parents. My parents were amazing. I have a mother who, her whole thing was there's no excuse for failure. She received a master's degree in education, my father in finance, and there were life lessons. My father was, no matter what, if you're going to be a floor mopper, be the best floor mopper out there, So in other words, be excellent in everything. And I applied those things. I was the flower child. All of my sisters, I was the flower child. And so I was like, we don't have to do all of that. Everybody can explore the world. We can all do that. But I came to a meeting of the minds at around 21, 22 years old. And I realized that I have to make a decision as to what my career path is going to be. And so I knew that I loved talking to people. I absolutely loved talking to people. And I said, sales will allow me to do that. I've not had any experience in it, but I'm going to take a leap of faith because I'm going to apply what my parents taught me. And I knew that was something that I wanted to do. And my first appointment, I said to myself, if I can just get them to believe that I can do the job, because I had no qualifications whatsoever. But I knew if I believed in myself, I could get them to believe in me as well. Got the job right off the bat. So excited. And there began my journey.
Wow. And now you're a top producer and
Yes.
you teach others how to do it.
That is correct.
And I love your social media. You give these tips from your home, which are so real and so authentic. We've got one of them. I want to show that right now.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kertrina Dauway, your ultimate sales coach. What do I have for you today? Do you get excited before you walk into an appointment or before you talk on the phone? Remember yesterday we talked about how that person on the line,
you share your wisdom, you share your truth, and you do it in a very organic way from your home. So that is so cool.
Yes.
What are some other takeaways that people can learn? Just a salesperson watching this right now. I always believe you got to circulate to percolate. You can't do it all behind the computer. You got to go out there and meet people, don't you?
Yes, you do have to go out there and meet people. And of course, we're living in a time where that is really difficult to do. Definitely, if you're trying to build your clientele, phone communication is extremely important. But how you deliver yourself over the phone is important. That's why it's important for you to practice doing it when you're in front of people. This needs to be applied prior to the phone conversation because it makes it easier. However, if, of course, with the situation going on now, if that is a problem, then if you're doing phone communication, it's important to deliver the personality over the phone. And so if you're looking to gain clients from that perspective, it's really important that you get to the point very clearly and very confidently and very caring. They know because they're in intense situations as well. So that's a really, really good way. If you have to go out and talk to people, and there are car salesmen that are out now. Right. One of the things that I truly recommend if you are out there in the industry is to make sure that you emulate your prospect. Emulation is one of the best ways to close a deal a lot sooner.
They just feel like you're on the same wavelength.
Yes, exactly. So those two things are extremely important. Caring, emulating.
Okay, how about asking for the sale? I've run into a lot of salespeople who they're charming, they just never ask the customer to buy.
Yeah. So I'm known as the closer.
Okay.
I'm known as the closer. I get the deal closed. Well, remember we were out there and we were just conversating and we were just talking. I make my client comfortable enough to when it's time to close the deal, they are comfortable in me saying, let's talk about how we can move further in this process. I've gotten them to that point because I developed rapport. I developed a relationship with them where they trust me. Now they're ready to close the deal because I've established that trust.
Yes.
I've established a strong foundation. It's not wavering, it's there. So they're going to glide with me right on. Let's go ahead and do this. A lot of times they didn't even know I was closing them the whole time because I care. I'm not there just to make a sale. I'm there because I know it's a benefit. So the caring part of that is you're benefiting the client. Yes. They feel that. That's contagious. So by the time it's time for me to close the deal, it's a sinker. It's a slam dunker. So in closing the deal, what could be an example of closing a deal? Hi, Mr. Customer. It's really, really, this is a really great time that we've had in reference to talking about your needs and how we can benefit those needs. And so now I'd like to talk with you now about pursuing a better way of whatever.
Right,
just a better way of now putting it into action.
Yes.
You know, whatever their product is, let's put it into action. How can we now go about implementing this?
You're really good at it.
So
I want to do that. We're almost out of time, but I want to give you a chance to talk to your mom. That's your camera right there. I know she's a big inspiration to you. Look into the camera and just tell your mom what she's meant to you all these years.
Mom, I thank you so much for all the tools and all the life lessons you and Dad taught us. I'm thankful that I am able to apply those life lessons now. And I thank God that He created you to be my mom and Dad to be my dad.
I love it. That's a great way to end this segment. We're going to put your website up so everybody can get a hold of you. KertrinaDauway.com is the website. Get in touch with her for all your sales coaching needs. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
You were amazing. And my best to your mom and dad.
Thank you so much.
That's it for now. We'll see you next time.